let's go ahead and recreate this. I'm going to bring in an instance of Serum. So I'd like to use a waveform that comes as close as possible to the original sound. I think I hear a little bit of unison here. Let's scale this back so they kind of sound a bit more uniform, and set it to about 83. Activate the filter. We don't need all that top end here. Maybe open the filter a bit. Let's say about 3K. Set it to PWM, pulse width modulation, and I'm basically using this to thin out the sound without having to rely on an EQ. Set it to about, I don't know, 35, 36. Next up, let's see if we can fatten up our sound. I'm just going to use the filter controls here, bump up the drive. The fatness might be a little much, scale that back. And so because we've added all this gain to it, I'm going to hit the mix knob. It converts it to a level and lower the gain a bit here. All right, so let's affect the envelope, the amp envelope here. I want this to kind of swell into the sound as opposed to being very staccato, if you will. And let's see if we can lower that sustain a bit. Nice. Bump up the release. We can adjust the sustain. So find that when the attack is set this way, one way to sort of reintroduce some meat into the sound is to bump up the hold control. I like to see it as the control that takes place in between the attack and the decay. All right, that's a little much. Let's scale this back. We need to get the detuning effect he has going on. So I'm going to use an LFO for this. And firstly, take it out of BPMs, set it to envelope, and I'm going to link it right over here to the fine control. Let's slow this down. I'm going to set it to about 0.4. And now we are going to make that adjustment and scale this back because the detuning is way too much. I'm going to leave it at about 22 and alter the shape of the LFO. All right, so we're not quite there. It is sounding rather thin. Let's make a duplicate. So let's head on over to the menu here, select copy oscillator A to B with mods. So our modulation and all our connections will be intact. So now we have an identical copy, but that's not what we're gonna do here. We're gonna alter this version. Firstly, we are gonna route it to the filter here.